Exclusive. In Des Moines, here is Mark Zelich.
Well, hi, everybody. Our consolation feature, our opener in 3A tonight has East Waterloo going up against Waverly Shell Rock. And from where I'm sitting in this section, you better believe it, they think the Go-Hawks are going to win. But Frosty Mitchell is somewhere else, and those folks may be of a different persuasion.
Hey, Mark, March Madness is just about to come to a big climax right here. We found Charles City people are over here rooting for East Waterloo. We're going to have the championship of the big Northeast Iowa square-off between some neighbors, Waverly, Shell Rock, and East Waterloo. And now to set the stage, let's go back to Mark Zelich.
And, of course, after we get finished with this opener, we go to the championship. Davenport Assumption against Giant Killers, Sioux City North for the 3A title. We'll turn to the starting lineups on our opener for you in just 1 minute after this word from your local station. Well, that's the pairing that Frosty Mitchell and yours truly were talking about just a moment ago. Waverly Shell Rock, Waterloo East. Off the top, realizing that Waterloo East came in as the top-rated team in the state of Wisconsin. Rather, in the state of Iowa. And maybe in Wisconsin as well, Frosty.
Why not?
Maybe throughout the Midwest, and going up against Waverly Shell Rock, which incidentally is unrated. One might think, well, this is all East. But then let's keep in mind that it was an unrated team, Sioux City North, which sidelined the Trojans here the other night and put them into consolation play. Waverly Shell Rock, coached by Norman Bud Bergman, has played very well in the tournament. They slipped by Cedar Rapids, Washington, 42-40. They lost a one-point game to Davenport Assumption, 35-34, which they could have won. They've been well coached in both of those ball games. Steve McGraw, of course, wants to atone that yesterday's loss. So let's find out what's going to happen as we turn now to Bob Wilson for the introduction of the two teams.
Good evening, and now it's time for the 3A Consolation Championship battle. On the scoreboard, listed as the visiting team, will be the Trojans from Waterloo East. And listed as the home team, the Go-Hawks from Waverly Shell Rock. The non-starters first for Waterloo East. Number 10 is Joel Elliott. Number 12, Carl Montgomery. Number 20, Lonzo Coleman. Number 22, Mark Crawford. Number 24, Steve Gibbons. Number 30, Harris Caesar. Number 40, Morris Davis. Number 42, Roger Dravis. Number 44, Darrell Caldwell. And number 50, Vince Montgomery. The assistant coach for the Trojans, Charlie Aldrich. For the Go-Hawks of Waverly Shell Rock, number 10 is Randy Suits. Number 12, Dan Scherf. Number 14, Bill Spurbeck. Number 30, Mike Reinhardt. Number 32, Robert Kukrow. Number 34, Ron Waltman. Number 42, Tom Moeller. Number 50, Tony X. And number 54, Dave Alberts. The assistant coach for the Go-Hawks, Jim Denner. And now for your starting lineups. At a forward for Waterloo East, number 34, Cliff Baranobas. For Waverly, number 44 is Jim Brunkhorst. Number 32 is Tim Moses. Number 22, Craig Werdinger. At the centers, number 52, Jay Williams. And number 52, Brian Mears. At the guards, number 14, Fred Franklin. Number 24, Tom Dirksen. Number 4, Tyrone Scott. And number 20, Mark Walker. The head coach for the Trojans of Waterloo East is Steve McGraw, and for Waverly Shell Rock, Bud Bergman. Our officials for the ball game: the referee, Dan Conry of Dubuque; the umpire, Art Hinker of Peosta; the auxiliary bench official, Robert Oldis of Iowa City.
Frosty, I think it's safe to say as we look at the Go Hawk huddle that Norman Bud Bergman is not going to try and fly with East. I think if anything, if he watched the game against Sioux City North, he might have picked up some hints on how to play this ball club.
A foot race he does not want.
No.
Mark, I think the Trojans might be the overall quickest and fastest basketball team that I ever remember in the state of Iowa in a state tournament of any class. They only go 6'2" for their biggest man out there, but they're leapers. But when they want to put on full court pressure, they use the full 94 feet. I don't believe Bud Bergman, he's too smart a coach, would want to be in a foot race with East Waterloo.
Well, and they are quick not only on offense, but quick on defense. They take pride in being able to steal the ball, being able to drive you nuts on the press.
22, gotcha.
That's the referee that you're hearing into his microphone. They're wired for sound, and here we go.
Okay, Williams and Werdinger. And Brian Mears. Mears is jumping center.
Both of those referees are working their 6th state tournament tonight.
The ball is tipped, and Moses has it. East controls. We're underway for the 3A Consolation title. Baranobis will introduce you to these people. That's Franklin. He's a shooter. 20 in the first game, 22 in the loss to North, and he starts out here this evening right on the money.
And East Waterloo picks up where they left off yesterday. They're into full court pressure on the first time down for Waverly.
And this is going to be a key. This is Werdinger working against Moses. He gets it up to Mark Walker. Walker goes to Dirksen. Man-to-man defense. You can hear the officials talking to the players. Walker out on front. Werdinger. He was fouled.
Went to pick his pocket and he moved.
Franklin got a part of his arm.
1-4. 1-4 on a pass.
So it's the first foul of the ball game.
Known as a common foul, you're not shooting.
And we see Jim Brunkhorst, the 6'3" senior. Number 3 rebounder, JV last year. Going to trigger the ball inbounds.
Had a man with a shoelace problem.
Okay, on the spot, sir.
On the spot, sir. Did you catch that, Mitch?
Yes, sir.
Now, keep the hands off.
He was simply saying you can't move along down there. You got to pass it right there.
Werdinger, he's a shooter as well.
Is he a shooter?
About a 23-footer. The rebound coming off to Moses. As Frosty told you, they're not tall, but they can sky. This is Baranobis. Jay Williams in the center has been superb in rebounding. 11 in the first game and 13 in the second. This is Moses. He gets it out of traffic. The shooter, Franklin. A little bit long, 22-footer. Rebound picked up by 5'10" senior Mark Walker. And we're heading east here at Des Moines as Dirksen takes it in the front court. 6:40 left to play, opening frame.
And you saw Waverly not get caught up in the transition game. They were tempted, but they just knew better.
Dirksen, going to have a jump ball. No, it's going to go out of bounds on the tie, right?
He was inside the jersey. They play you so tight and so tough on defense.
So let's see if they've learned from that. They try to steal it away from Tyrone Scott and almost did. That's Williams coming out. Gives it to Franklin. Baranobis off the back. Tyrone Scott on the follow-up.
Nice effort. Left hand with a velvet touch that time. Didn't use glass at all. Just laid it up and dumped it off.
Well, Coach Steve McGraw calls Scott and Franklin the 2 best guards in the state of Iowa on the high school level. 4-0.
If you're talking about a tandem, I'll agree.
They're tough. This is Walker handling it. Gives it to Brunkhorst. Back to Walker. Looking in for Brunkhorst. Can't find him. Out to Mears. Werdinger. Now Walker.
Well, Waverly needed that right then. The Go Hawks to be gone needed that.
Walker has played well. 7 in the first game against Cedar Rapids, Washington.
Good job.
6 in the loss to Davenport Assumption. Baranobis. And Baranobis is a streak shooter, and when the streak is right, he can bury you. But he can be just as cold as he is hot. He'll keep trying, however. It is 6-2 for the second time, a 4-point lead by East Waterloo. You're looking at Dirksen handle it against the man-to-man. Goes to the top to Werdinger. Werdinger working against Moses is fouled. Moses lifted in and got him across the hand, and that on Moses is his first personal foul.
Over on the side.
And
right
team
here.
foul number 2 on East Waterloo. Waverly hasn't been whistled yet, so there won't be a shot.
Right here, son.
And you've got a good look at Craig Werdinger, 6'2" senior.
I don't remember Werdinger wearing the bandage on his left thigh yesterday.
I don't think I do either, not to mention it.
Could be a Charlie horse or something. Whoa, he got him up in the air.
3 seconds.
Nope, there was a lane violation before he fouled him, so they get a break.
Boy, did Tim Moses get a reprieve on that one.
He sure did.
That was
5:10
like
left to play, opening quarter.
That was like a call from the governor in the 11th hour, wasn't it?
Williams gives the ball into Franklin. He'll hurry down, grab the post, or they'll work a double post against the 2-3 zone. That's Franklin. They go inside to Williams, outside to Tyrone Scott. Scott being collapsed on and frees himself to Williams. We're under 5 now. 3A Consolation Championship. 3A title game upcoming after this one. Nice pass inside to Williams, up with the left hand. The ball is free, and the rebound goes into the hands of Tommy Dirksen, the 5'10" senior for the Go Hawks. He's been starting as a junior. Gives it to Werdinger. This is Walker. We're going to have a foul called on Walker.
We're going to go underneath. Okay.
That's the first team foul on Waverly.
Mark Walker.
Cross the arm.
And you don't see Waverly up court in full court man-to-man pressure. They do not want to lose the foot race. They're going back right now and get set up zone.
Well, as we said, they're not going to get in any kind of a running game. Although Waverly will bust out. If they get a bust out, they'll go.
You bet.
Baranobis. That zone reacts pretty quickly. Scott to Baranobis.
They respect him. That guy can get hotter than horseradish.
And that's his second consecutive field goal. Baranobis is of Hawaiian descent. Waverly Shell Rock is down by 6 now. That's the biggest lead of this ball game. We're in the early going. Werdinger.
We're halfway through that first frame.
Walker with the right hand. The big right hand lost at Mears, but Dirksen follows up, doesn't get it. Dirksen gets it before it goes out of bounds.
Well, you get 3 cracks.
To Brunkhorst, to Walker. Walker to Dirksen. He'll shoot it. 16-footer. Nope.
0 for 3.
Down to Franklin. Franklin on Walker. And Walker gets his second personal foul and team foul.
And the best that could happen right that time was just stop the easy 2-point play for Waverly Shell Rock.
Fred Franklin on the line when time is back in. Now this word from your local station. We're 4.5 into the first quarter, and outside from the score, which is 8-2, the stats are pretty even. Each team has 4 rebounds. Waverly 2 turnovers. Waterloo East doesn't have any. A little bit surprising the way they move the ball. Each has a couple of fouls. There's Murray Weir. That's Steve McGraw, obviously standing and being identified, but to his left as he sits down, Murray Weir.
Athletic director at East High.
Quite a player here in the state of Iowa.
Oh, from Muscatine and All-American at Iowa. And, of course, just got back from skiing in Colorado in time to see these kids play tonight. He was not here yesterday.
Here's Franklin, 72%er on the line.
Mark, our viewers are seeing something that you never see. 2 teams both wearing even-numbered uniforms. This is very tough on referees and scorers. The dark uniforms should be odd numbers.
Right, East has the same numbers on their light or dark uniforms. So he gets 1 out of 2. Franklin does. He has a total of 3, and the spread is 7. That's the largest. You see the press has, they get it by Moses, not court to Dirksen.
Keep those hands to yourself now.
Like a schoolmaster talking to pupils. Werdinger was fouled in midair by Moses.
2 of them are.
And that is number 2 on Moses.
Black 32.
Team foul number 2.
Take another look at it right there as they got him off his feet. That's when you can get that job done, you're usually halfway home.
You're on 2 throws.
So Werdinger goes to the line, 73%. He has yet to score here this evening. He is a fine shot, 54% from the field. He had 15 against Cedar Rapids, Washington, 22 against Davenport, Assumption. We have Maurice Davis in the lineup. Excuse me, Mitch. He replaces Moses, and Davis has played in both games, and he has played superbly. He's tough.
He pulled a muscle in that left thigh in the last regular season ball game. They thought it was okay, but tonight he's wearing a tape on it, you'll notice again. That's
Werdinger getting his first scoring, the #1 scorer and #2 rebounder on this ball club. He has 2 points. His first scoring of the evening, 9-4, brings his club within 5. That's Franklin handling the ball. Baranobas, 3 in a row.
He's up it.
Got a hot hand.
Knows the spot out there.
Second time by 7. Baranobas has 3 field goals.
Look at this.
This is Franklin. French pastry.
Boy, when it comes to that pressing defense, Franklin is absolutely the master of disaster. He turns defense into offense.
He's the quickest of these 2 quick guards, and the other one is quick.
The slowest one is the second quickest guard in the league.
That's about it. Nice passing underneath, but he traveled on the pass-off. That was Brunkhorst, and as a result, we'll have the ball out of bounds to East Waterloo. They're out in front here, 13-4. So 9-point lead. And the last thing Waverly Shell Rock wants to happen, of course, is a big spread to open up early when playing catch-up against this club.
These teams are neighbors. Bremer County and Blackhawk County and Northeast Iowa are contiguous counties.
That's Davis trying just into the ball game. Orange has a slippery peel. They finally pick it up off the floor in the person of Jim Brunkhorst. And moving into the front court is Dave Alberts, a 6'1" senior, in a reserve role for Waverly Shell Rock. Number 5-4. Werdinger underneath nicely to Mears. Nice assist by Werdinger.
Though these teams are neighbors, they do not play in the same league. Waterloo East won the Big 8 Conference, and of course the Northeast Iowa Conference went to the team from Waverly Shell Rock.
I hear they won that 2 or 3 times now, man.
Hey, Bud Bergman, sometimes they think he owns it.
Williams on the missed shot, partially blocked by Mears. It goes out of bounds. They'll give the ball out of bounds to East Waterloo.
We're down to 1:52 to go in the opening inning.
They got to get a big game underneath from Brian Mears. He only had 4 in the loss to Davenport Assumption. He had 10 in the opener and played well. Baranobas feeds it off to Moses. No, that's Williams. And Williams is fouled by Mears.
East Waterloo has the luxury of probably the best bench in the AAA. How'd you like to have this guy be just a reserve on your ball club? Well, he can't come in for the shooter right now.
Mitch is talking about Roger Dravis, D-R-E-W-E-S, Dravis, and he's a 6'3" junior, and man, he's been tough.
How'd you like to have him be just a reserve? He's waiting to come in for the shooter.
Bud Bergman and the bench over at Waverly Shell Rock.
Bill Spurbeck is coming in for Waverly Shell Rock.
Spurbeck has seen action pretty consistently in both games. Scored a couple of points in that Davenport Assumption loss. 5'11" junior.
We got a chess match going right now as they're starting to rest these people.
Yeah. Be nice if they did it all at once, wouldn't it?
Mark
Crawford, the 6' junior.
Baranobas, the man going over to rest.
Yep. Crawford has seen action in both games. He got a couple of points on that opener against Burlington. That was more or less of a blowout for East Waterloo.
But they had to come from 8 points down to Don Gibbs' team.
You bet. Early on, it was hard going.
Well, they brought the blimp into the building. That was the sky view.
Jay Williams. Boy, he has been skying all tournament long. As he had a total of 24 rebounds coming into this one in the previous 2 games.
He's their big man at 6'2". Now he can go out, and Dravis can come in.
That's 2 for Williams, his only scoring. 15-6. We're up by 9. East Waterloo's biggest lead, second time they've had it. Now we have a change for Waverly Shell Rock, and this is Ron Waltman, a 6'1" senior, checking in. He was reserved last year, but he lettered. Pretty good clutch player. He gives Brunkhorst a rest.
Dravis gives them an inch more in height, but they lose just a little bit in quickness with Jay Williams.
So that's Werdinger in the backcourt, trying to get it over to Spurbeck, and does. Spurbeck is not a bad shooter. Into Werdinger. Oh, nice pass off and fine rejection under there by Dravis, the guy we were talking about who came in reserve of Williams.
Werdinger just looked like a quarterback the way he rolled around, made that handoff with one hand.
Waltman saw his ball just fly out of bounds on the rejection. So it's Waltman handling it here on the near side. Werdinger looking inside, nowhere to go.
90
Waltman
seconds.
Tries it. No way.
Well, look at him push that
Mark
ball down the
Crawford
floor.
with that towering rebound. Franklin on the shot. Slapped out of bounds, and will be awarded out of bounds to Waverly Shellrock. Maurice Davis is looking at the officials, suggesting, hey, somebody's on my back. We have 1:15 left to play, first quarter. Spurbeck into the front court quickly for the Go Hawks, trying to get some go here into their ball game. Dave Alberts. The difference is 9.
We talked about Murray Ware a few minutes ago. He brought East Waterloo here 8 times.
Werdinger, that was a poor pass. Somehow he wound up with it. Now it goes out of bounds, and they're going to give it out of bounds to White. That's Waverly Shellrock.
Under a minute, 57 seconds.
Stays at 15-6. Waverly has not led. It has not been tied. Oh, close. Official lets it go.
Waverly Shellrock came in with a 5-loss record, 3 of those in overtime.
Spurbeck was hacked across the arm by Dravis. That is his first personal foul.
Steve McGraw lets his kids go in the air to block shots about as much as any high school coach.
They play with quite a bit of abandon, no question about it.
Take another look. Watch Dravis go up. They get him off the feet, and then you can usually handle a man. McGraw's been greatly successful at Sibley High School for 2 years, Tri-County of Thornburg for 9 years.
We have just had Darrell Caldwell, a 6'3" junior, number 44, check in. A lot of early substitution. Spurbeck, the bell ringer from the far side, about a 22-footer. 40 seconds left, 15-8. This is Scott. He tried to get it to Davis, as you saw, a little bit behind him, and as a result, Waverly Shellrock gets another whack at it with 34 seconds left in the quarter. They trail by 7. This is Werdinger coming up against Crawford.
Take it easy, take it easy.
They drop it to Alberts.
Get the hands off now.
Spurbeck. Waltman in traffic. He got it away. It wouldn't go in. Tipped up and in by Mears.
And so Waverly hits 4 in a row to cut it down to a 5-pointer.
Mears with a big tip in. 10 seconds left. Tyrone Scott handling it. Crawford. Scott. He's going to try it. 22 feet. Off the iron, out of bounds with 2 seconds left. Waverly Shellrock will get the ball. Whether or not to be able to get a shot off is debatable.
That's Steve McGraw.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score. East Waterloo 15, Waverly Shellrock 10. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Well, in the first quarter of play, East Waterloo was out in front by 9 points. It was shaky, but Waverly Shellrock sucked it up, came back, and it's pretty decent here at the quarter mark, 15-10. East Waterloo by 5. Waverly owns the rebound edge, 7-6.
22.
Turnovers 4-1.
14.
Fouls just about even, Steven.
Watch this Jay Williams go up.
The tip is controlled by Waverly Shellrock.
He gave up 3 inches on the tip there, but he sure gets up.
Spurbeck drops it for Worthington. Franklin had 5 in that first quarter. Baranobas had 6, pacing the Trojans. Mears had 4. Mears slaps it away, but it's picked up by William. Down to Franklin. Should be easy, and he was fouled.
You okay, both of you?
Apparently both people are okay.
Boy, that Franklin comes down there like you'd heard a starter's gun. He just breaks out.
White, 1,
Spurbeck
4,
has his
Take another look at this.
Foul.
Watch the sprint. This man can move that fast while dribbling a basketball, but he tried to prevent 2 points.
2 shots, relax, stay set.
It's a good foul. He would have had 2 regardless. So you might as well make it work for it from the line.
Gonna have to earn them.
But I'll tell you, Franklin's doing just that. That's 2 out of 3 from the line. As I said, he's a 72%er.
He was a 3-year starter at Waterloo Columbus before transferring to East Waterloo late last year.
You know, he is not only an outstanding scorer, he's second in assists on this ball team. So, backcourt foul, it'll be Tyrone Scott. That's
but the category that he leads in is the one that I think makes their pressure defense. He is first in steals. You take another look at it right here, and you watch the quickness, but Tyrone Scott definitely guilty that time.
I think Tyrone is second in steals on this ball club. So those 2 guards, they make you earn it. All right, let's watch Walker. 1-1. He had 2 points in the opening frame on a field goal.
Young man's a straight B student as far as the classroom is concerned.
All conference in basketball, 70% from the line. He had 13 points combined in the previous 2 games.
Quarter miler in track, and he also plays second base in baseball for Waverly.
Coming up with it is Moses, fires it up to Tyrone Scott.
No basket. He
Traveled on the way in.
I thought maybe he got there a little quicker than he should have.
6-point lead by East Waterloo, which has led by 9. Waverly has yet to lead, not been tied. We have 7:28 left in the first half. This is the Consolation Championship for third place. Spurbeck, Walker, and will jump it. Williams doesn't like it. He thought he won the battle. He'll have to go up against Mears.
Boy, at 6'2", watch this guy Williams go up, though.
Mears isn't too shabby as a jumper either. He
You're
leads
right.
his ball club in rebounding.
But he's 3 inches taller.
Yes, he is. There's Franklin. Beautiful pass, and Scott couldn't hang on to it.
Boy, he had something on that one, too.
When you can pass right off of the dribble, Mitch, all in the same motion, you know what you're doing.
They not only motor down that court, but they hum those passes.
They do. And there isn't any hesitation. And that's probably why they play such devastating basketball. When they're really wheeling freely, man, you've got to think you ran into a buzzsaw.
They play this all summer long, the same group of kids at a place called Sullivan Park in Waterloo.
This is Walker going inside to Spurbeck over Scott, who's on the ball beautifully, knocks it out of bounds. Superb defense.
Take another look at this one. Spurbeck trying to get through there. Up over the top.
Dave Elvert's trying to get it in, slapped out of bounds by Williams. They'll try again.
These kids say that the competition at Sullivan Park in the summertime is tougher than what they face so far in the winter. Of
Gotta stay, okay? Gotta stay.
course, you don't have any referees out there.
No, I was going to say, I imagine a little body bumping going on. It's thrown away. And let's see.
5 seconds, gentlemen. Black's ball.
It was a 5-second violation, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
The
Thank you, 53.
East ball.
inbounding
turnover.
team didn't touch the ball, and you had only 5 seconds to do that.
Yeah, and then on a previous attempt in, was slapped out of bounds. So there's that quickness in defense. All right, here's Franklin. Shirt out of his trousers, gives it to Baranovas. The rebound picked off by Werdinger.
You got to hand it
Gives
to
it to
this
Albert.
Waverly Shellrock, though. They came in as the Cinderella. There are 64 AAA schools in Iowa on student enrollment. They are number 64.
They're going to give it to Waverly Shellrock. Mears working against Williams, and that's a battle to watch underneath. Williams pushed it out.
If they had 12 fewer students, they would have been AA, and walk-on would have been AAA.
Dirksen, the starter, is back in the lineup. You're taking a look at Walker leave. Werdinger almost tripped. Moses on Werdinger, looking in at Mears. He didn't get it in. It'll be out of bounds.
Just intimidation.
It is, and they're having a trouble even getting a shot up. Once they get it down there, or getting the ball inbounds, once they have that opportunity.
Nobody touched it. It was just a matter of intimidation.
6:20 left to play. Tyrone Scott, partially blocked, a foul, got him on the hand. Mears. That's 2 on Mears.
The one that got him here was an overtime win, double overtime over Dubuque Wallert, and this was the guy, Tyrone Scott, who had 24 points that Saturday night in Old Wine, Iowa. Wallert, of course, was the defending AAA champ.
He's a number 2 scorer in the 3A field coming into the tournament, but Franklin has outdone him. 20 points in one game, 22 in another. Scott opened with 14 in the win over Burlington, had 20 in the Sioux City North loss.
Tyrone wants to go to college, and he wants to play basketball.
1 out of 2 from the line, and he has a total of 3. Dirksen against the press. That's Scott trying to work him over. Dirksen crosses the equator.
They help out
by Moses, but he retrieves it.
They help out when they get close to a double team.
Very quick. 18-11. The spread is 7,
You bet.
and that's going to be a foul on Moses.
Moses is trying to draw it right here, but notice you have to have both feet planted. He slid.
No question about it.
The one foot sliding, so it has to be a charge. It has to be a block.
Moved right into him. Werdinger on the line, a good shooter on the field and from the line. 54% from the field to 73% from the line, but they've done a pretty good job on Werdinger. They've held him to 2 free throws here this evening.
Werdinger in the district and sub-state was 26 for 36, and he takes some tough shots.
Now we have Maurice Davis into the lineup. He replaces Moses as we watch Werdinger go to the line. There's Moses on the bench. Craig Werdinger, 3-year all-conference. 3 in a row from the line.
He'd be a good guy to take fishing with you. He's a cook in a restaurant up at Waverly.
You know, he had that great tournament getting in here, Mitch.
Oh, boy.
But he fouled out of the sub-state. They won it anyway.
He had 17 against Fort Dodge in that 46-44 game.
3 out of 4 from the line. That's all of his scoring. The difference is 6 coming down in a rush. Crawford puts it on the iron. You see the pot boil over as they slap it out of bounds, and we're going to give the ball out of bounds to the Go-Hawks of Waverly Shell Rock. The black and gold in their predominantly white uniform tonight with the gold numerals and piping along with the black.
And they've got the big opportunity right here. They've got it to 6, and they've got the ball.
To Spurbeck, he lost it. Retrieved. They're all over the place. Alberts looking underneath. Cross court to Mears. Can get 2 out of this. He was intimidated by Williams. Didn't concentrate on the shot. Here's Franklin coming up in a rush. East Waterloo, 21-footer. Big rebound coming up by Mears. Against Davis. Alberts into the front court now as they bring it up. We have 5:15 left to play in the half. 18-12. The spread is 6, has been 9 twice. No way for...
It'll count.
Yes. It will count. They're going to whistle it on Williams. Mears will go to the line.
So you're down to 4, and the man's got a chance at a 3-point play with timeout East.
Now this word from your local station. Brian Mears, who will be on the line with time back in, looking for his 3rd point on a 3-point play, will bring his club to within 3 if he can put it in the hole. Mears is a junior, and that, of course, is what Bergen has to build next year's club around. The other 4 starters are seniors, so he's losing a ton of people. Spurbeck, however, will be back, so he's got a guard, and he's got a center to build on, and that's not too shabby.
Waverly came in as the 4th best free-throwing team in AAA at 65.7. East Waterloo's the poorest free throwers in the tournament, 56.2.
1 for 1 from the line for Mears. The spread is 3 now, 18-15 with 5 minutes left to play. Consolation. Good ball game. Glad you came. We're certainly glad we did. Mark Zelich, along with Frosty Mitchell, courtside. Beautiful place to do a ball game, by the way. If any of you ever get that chance, do it here. Davis underneath to Williams. Oh, it was a nice pass. It didn't work. Williams still trying to scratch it up. He cannot.
Hey, opportunity knocks right now.
This is Werdinger coming up against Baranobis. He
Too
traveled.
bad. And again, the intimidation of just feeling like somebody's inside your jersey. Baranobis was the man putting the pressure on Werdinger, and Baranobis had a hand in that even though he didn't touch it.
You can just see the juices flow when they get a chance on one-on-one. Williams missing the shot. The rebound is picked up by Brunkhorst.
Waverly Shell Rock, a little bit possessed right now. They've got a cause.
Baranobis trying to create a 2nd consecutive turnover.
40, don't hold him.
They go to Mears. You heard the official saying 40, don't hold him. Brunkhorst feeds it off to Spurbeck. Look out.
Here they come. The Go-Hawks are going.
The torch is lit. 18-17. Down by 9. The difference now is 1. They go inside. Williams lost it. Mears picks it up. Here comes Werdinger. And Waverly Shell Rock could take over the lead for the first time tonight on this possession. Werdinger wants to give him that lead. He lost the ball.
Out.
Scott comes out of it, gives it to Franklin. Down against Spurbeck, and he gets it.
Spurbeck hit the upright real hard with his arm, but he's up and okay. Tough kid.
Franklin has a total of 9. Double teamed. Over to Spurbeck. He is fouled by Davis. Maurice Davis's first personal foul.
Well, they're letting him play. Art Henker of Piasta, Don Connery of Dubuque. Take a look at this.
There's Davis diving for it.
East Waterloo's offense is really their defense, and that's why they're willing to gamble with you on that.
Spurbeck went spinning, and there you can see the coach talking to one of his star pupils. Davis. Spurbeck misses. Had a chance for his 5th point, didn't get it. 20-17, East has got it by 3. Off the foot of Tyrone Scott, moves in, and boy.
Smart move. He knew when the Waverly man went by them for the steal, he knew now it was a 5-4 mismatch on that defense. So he penetrated.
Yeah. Stuck it up with the left hand and in. Werdinger. Werdinger's a shooter. Forcing that one a little bit. Mears on the follow-up.
As we go under the 3-minute mark.
9 for Mears, 22-19. They lose it underneath and on the arm. Brunkhorst, his first personal foul.
And a couple of changes.
Good look at Jimmy Bronkhorst, the 6'3" senior. Only basketball, that's his involvement. Let's see, Baranobas checks out of the lineup, and coming back in is Davis after he had a little talk with Coach Steve McGraw.
That big fella at the line was quite a tailback on their football team at East until he injured a knee, but he was okay by the start of basketball.
Hasn't hit a field goal, but he's 2 out of 2 from the line. Mears on the rebound. Mears is doing stellar work on the boards, but you're going to find a much better rebounder than Williams of East Waterloo. He has been tough. He's impressed us in those first 2 games. We're down to about 2.5 left to go here in the half. 22-19. The spread is 3. That's Walker giving the ball off. Bronkhorst, Spurbeck, Bronkhorst trying to get through, cannot. Spurbeck almost walked with it. That's Walker. Slapped out of the hands of Bronkhorst. The lead pass down to Franklin.
How about that?
11 for Franklin. He's on a tear again. 24-19, a 5-point lead.
Oh, and they're feeling it too. The adrenaline really perking for East on defense.
Alberts is going to get ready to come in for Shell Rock. There's Werdinger. Stepping out of bounds, yeah. Spurbeck stepped out of bounds. Wasn't sure where he was, apparently.
2 Waterloo players had quite a collision out there as they went to combine on some help out defense, but they're up and okay.
And even with the collision, they couldn't take advantage of it. That is Waverly Shell Rock. Now you see Bud Bergman on the bench. He's talking to Bronkhorst. Didn't like that steal. Davis looking inside. Dravis wheeling and dealing against Mears. It's an air ball. Mears did not touch it. Just pure intimidation. So with a minute 38. Spurbeck has it in the backcourt where he is double teamed. The ball comes up to Walker. He in turn gets it to Alberts, to Werdinger all alone. He can't buy it. Tipped up there, no good. Mears on the follow-up. Mears playing a big game. He had 4 in the first quarter. He has 11 for the game. 24-21. The difference is 3. Minute 18 left to play. The #1 team in the state of Iowa burned in the semifinal round. Oh, what a pretty shot by Scott, and he was fouled by Walker. That on Walker's his 3rd personal foul. You saw Tyrone Scott with a nifty move. Here's a look at it in slow motion. And off it goes with that left hand, and in it goes. Give him a total of 7 points.
Yes. Hey, fellas, 1 shot, 1 only. Good right.
So he has a chance at a 3-point play.
All set. Okay.
Maurice Davis is substituted for. Coming into the lineup
Everybody, 1 shot.
is Baranobas.
1 only. 1, sir.
Perfect. Scott with his 8-point. A minute 10 left to play. Dirksen in the backcourt. Dirksen, the starter as a junior.
Don't push.
They give it to Mears, back to Dirksen. Against that man-to-man, and it's tenacious. A lot of motion, as you can see. Waverly Shell Rock trying to create a lot of its own motion. Alberts feeds it to Mears. Mears back to Alberts. Will he go? No. Gives it out to Werdinger.
Take it easy, 5-2. Take it easy.
Alberts looks just a little hesitant. Probably realize there's better shooters than him out there, and that's not his task. We're down to 38. I don't think they're working down for one. They just can't get it done. Dirksen. Werdinger. Under 30.
42.
The shot attempt by Alberts, and he is fouled by Dravis. That on Dravis is his 2nd personal foul. It's a shooting foul.
42, Black. Got him here. We've got 2. No white wanted over here.
A change for Waverly Shell Rock coming up.
Doesn't make any difference.
Here is Ron Waltman. He was in previously for a moment, and he replaces Werdinger. Going to give him a rest with 28 seconds left in the half. Werdinger has not hit a field goal.
2, sir.
So if he gets into the ball game, things could change drastically for Waverly Shell Rock if he can start putting it in the hole. But East has done a nifty number on him. Alberts, who is 50% from the free throw line, gets his first scoring of the evening, and that's
1, sir.
1 out of 1 from the line. He has not scored in the tournament, as a matter of fact, in the previous 2 games. You saw Williams up on the board. Gives it to Scott. Scott drops it here for Franklin. Over on the weak side to Baranobis. We're down to 17. That's Scott directing traffic. He'll try it. Nifty effort. It doesn't go. The rebound is picked up by Alberts. We've got 7 seconds, 6 seconds. You can count it down, and let's see. It'll be Dravis. He has picked up his third personal foul. He's picked all of those up in pretty much of a hurry here. The 6'3" junior. On the line will be Bill Spurbeck, S-P-U-R-B-E-C-K, a 5'11" junior looking for his 5th point. He's had one free throw try. He missed that.
One on a bonus.
The official tells you that the 1-and-1 is in vogue. The spread is 5 with 4 seconds left. Big free throw. Spurbeck has 5. He could bring it down to a 3-point ball game. His club was down 9 2 times earlier. Second one doesn't go. Mears on the follow-up. And Williams clears the boards. That's the end of the first half of this 3A Consolation Championship with the score. East Waterloo 27, Waverly Shell Rock 23. We'll be back after this word from your local station. We have a 4-point ball game at halftime. East Waterloo with a 27-23 lead over Waverly Shell Rock. A big second quarter from Brian Mears pulled his ball club up after it had been trailing by 9. It was 15-10 at the quarter. Waverly wins the battle of the second quarter, but just by 1, 13-12. Besides Mears, they've had some good play out of reserve Bill Spurbeck, who in the second quarter came on with 3 points to help out a little bit. The story for East Waterloo, of course, those 2 nifty guards, Tyrone Scott and Fred Franklin. Scott with 8, Franklin with 9, and those scoring and running twins for the Trojans do yeoman's work here whenever they play. Some of the crowd on hand. And apparently, very shortly, we'll have some halftime ceremonies for you. Okay, we do have Frosty Mitchell now, center court. Mitch.
Those of you in the house at Veterans Auditorium, to the vast television audience this evening across the Middle West, enjoying the boys basketball tournament. To make a very special presentation, may I give to you Mr. William F. Turner, the president of KCAU TV in Sioux City.
Thank you very much, Frosty. It's been my pleasure to be associated as executive producer for Iowa boys high school basketball these last 14 years. We also have someone who, at the conclusion of tonight's telecast with the awards to the all-tournament team in the 3A class, will have completed 14 years of major awards to young men in Iowa. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to have you give our Governor, Bob Ray, a warm welcome. Governor, come on out. Governor, from the many young men who have participated in this basketball tournament, we have a plaque to be awarded to you. And the plaque says, from the all-tournament team to Governor Robert D. Ray, whose strong support of boys state basketball tournament athletes during 14 years of service to Iowa is deeply appreciated by the thousands who have participated during that time. It has meant more to all of them knowing that you cared. Congratulations, Governor.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, Governor Ray with the most deserved award. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in a moment after this pause for station identification. Of course, the big one tonight, and that's the 3A championship. That game will be featuring none other than Sioux City North, 18-5, unrated. A team that's disposed of 2 highly rated teams, including number 1 East Waterloo, taking on the second-ranked Davenport Assumption Ball Club. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium after this word from your local station. We have Frosty Mitchell courtside here at intermission with the state's #1 citizen.
Well, Governor Ray, welcome to my office here at the West End of Veterans Auditorium for the final time because of an announcement that you recently made. You've just been honored. Maybe we want to show a close-up of that plaque, if we could, to the people of Iowa. It's a beautiful thing and certainly well-deserved.
Well, Frosty, it came as quite a surprise. I had no idea this was going to happen. I can tell you one thing, it's deeply appreciated, and it's nice once again to have this opportunity to be interviewed by you. This being one more time and perhaps the last time.
Well, Governor Ray, certainly over the years, watching you hand out those certificates and be around these kids all these times. I know you'll be back next year when you're not governor, but nevertheless, I have a feeling that kids is really the thing that maybe is closest to your heart.
Well, you know, they're what it's all about. We, of course, live for the young people. We do within our own families. We do with our schools, and with almost everything we do, it's designed to have a better life for the young people that will follow us. And of course, when you come to these tournaments, you find out how real these young people are, how great, how tremendously great they are.
And how hard they'll work just to take that victory lap with a finger in the air saying, we're #1. And I think that pride that is maybe very noticeable during your administration, that people believing in Iowa.
Well, Frosty, people have asked me a number of times what I think my greatest accomplishment has been as governor for all these years. And, you know, I think I have to almost answer that it's the change in attitude, and I can't take credit for it, obviously, but I'm glad I was a part of it. I was here at the time all of this was happening because people now are very proud of the state of Iowa. We're proud that we're an agricultural state. We're proud of the fact that we feed this country and much of the world, and so I take pride in that fact that our people are very proud of what they have, and it's truly a great state. Yesterday I was flying home from Colorado, and a young woman was sitting next to me, and we started visiting, and she goes to Arizona State. And she is in her 4th year, and she was telling me how nice it is there. And then she also told me that she had been to Steamboat Rock to ski during spring break. And then just as we were landing, it was very cloudy and overcast and dreary. She looked out, and then she looked over to me, and she said, you know, Governor, isn't it a great feeling to be coming home to Iowa? And I thought she sort of summed it up. Some people like nice weather and beautiful mountains, and yet there's something special about the state of Iowa. It's our home.
And I can tell this man believes it. Well, Governor Ray, 9 more months of good administration to you for the state of Iowa. In the future to you, your lovely wife, Billy, and the family. The state of Iowa certainly says thanks, good luck, and Godspeed.
Frosty, thank you very much. We're going to run out of questions and answers. Thank you.
And I didn't choke up either. Let's go back to Mark Zelich.
Thank you, gentlemen. Halftime highlights coming up now as both teams return to the playing court to get back into this thing. We will see Scott now for East Waterloo. Pass the ball off to Baranobis, and Baranobis parks it from the corner. He wound up with a total of 6 points here in the opening half. Now you're going to see a steal. This comes up by Fred Franklin. Franklin down with the right hand. He's going to push it in. He wound up with 11 points for his efforts here in the first half of play. Now we're going to see Werdinger move up in the air, and instead of shooting, he fed underneath beautifully to Mears. Mears cashed in. Mears has 11 points for Waverly Shellrock here at intermission time. Take a look at this defense now. Driving on the shot is Spurbeck, and rejecting it very nicely that time was Scott. Spurbeck from the corner. He's playing in a reserve role, a shooting star. Now we're going to take a look at Franklin in action as the ball is slapped away from Brunkhorst. Over to Scott, back to Franklin. He rolls it up, and he rolls it in. It is 27-23 at halftime, and there's Governor Ray proudly holding a plaque he so richly deserves. We'll be back with the start of the second half after this word from your local station. All right, there we have the stats for the first half of play. Waterloo East 10 out of 23 from the field, and that actually has been the difference here. There's a discrepancy in the free throws from the halftime stats and from what we have. I think it should read 7 free throws apiece, be that as it may. You can see very close in that category. When it comes to turnovers, well, Waverly Shell Rock, a couple of more, but rebounds, that Waverly Shell Rock has been controlling the boards 22-16. It's interesting that they have and still trail by 4 points, but they do. It's a closer ball game than it might have been, however. Waverly Shell Rock had to suck it up early in the first quarter when it looked like East might really put in a big spread. They led by 9 a couple of times. They right now have the basketball and lead by 4. Could open it to 6 as we start the second half and Baranobas unloads. That's 8 for Baranobas. His first scoring of the second half, of course, just underway. This is Consolation, 3A. Battle for third place between two fine ball clubs. Werdinger, who has been held to without a field goal. All he has is 3 free throws, and this is a guy who's averaging close to 17 points a ball game on the season, and that same amount during this tournament, so they've tied a can on him pretty good. Dirksen, he usually makes those. The outlet pass down to Franklin. No sweat. 13 for Fred Franklin, the scoring machine for Waterloo East. Dirksen with the right hand working against Franklin. It's 31-23. Over on the far side, it's Walker trying it. Nothing happens. Walker gets the rebound, tries it again. Doesn't happen again. Picked off by Moses. Up court they come. Quickly to Scott. Look at that move down the lane. Tyrone Scott. As all of a sudden, East opens with a rush and leads at 33-23 by 10. 6 unanswered point. Mears trying to get into it. He does, and he was fouled by Williams. That's 2 on Williams. The basket counts. That's 13 for Mears. He's been tough in this ball game. He has a chance at a 3-pointer. Another look at it. Dirksen drops it. Mears moves up, and now you watch Jay Williams try to stop it. Williams hit him. Williams knew it. No problem with the call. So here goes the 200-pounder, 6'5" junior, Brian Mears, B-R-I-A-N. Lettered as a sophomore and starting all year here as a junior.
You really know how to hurt a guy, Zelich.
Now what happened?
I climbed down into my booth and you say, here goes a 200-pounder.
Saw you and the governor signing autographs down there, Frosty. All right, Baranobas from the side. He has 5 field goals. We've said it before. He's a shooter, a streak shooter. Almost dug away, and a foul will be called on Franklin.
Those kids have got a system down there, Mark. 4 Frosty Mitchells and 2 Bob Rays, and you can trade it for a Lute Olson.
I know you're not a name dropper, and we're just mentioning this as a matter of fact. Frosty and the governor are good friends and have been for many years, and I think some of you realize they even shared a microphone together here some time back.
Yes, he was a color man on my football broadcast for 6 years.
Mears puts it on the iron, but that's all, and Williams is fouled from behind by Werdinger. Werdinger's having that kind of a night. He's trying very, very hard to get into it.
Take a look at this, and Werdinger is the man that goes over the back there, and they caught him. Officiating has been good in this basketball tournament. I know there's been a lot of copy about officiating in the last few months. Mark, we've had good refereeing.
We have. 10-point spread. East Waterloo, its biggest lead. Led by 9 earlier in the ball game. That's Franklin trying his luck. It doesn't happen. Mears with that big left hand hauled it in before Franklin could gobble it up. Gives it to Alberts up court. You saw Williams come over. He had larceny in his heart.
Go Hawks need one bad right now.
Dirksen will try and give it to him. I told you about Williams' rebounding. There you saw an example of it. 5:40 left to play in the third. Slow start for Waverly Shell Rock, and is it a foul on Mears?
Yep.
Kind of a delayed call, but Mears gets it.
You take another look, make up your own mind there. Mears isn't quite set. The right foot is up, and boom. That's why they called it on him.
We got a white coming, guys. Got a white coming here.
And that white coming is Mark Walker back into the lineup. Starting guard, 5'10" senior. He'll replace Dirksen. Dirksen just hasn't been able to find the hole. Dirksen's a better shooter than that. He's averaging 6 points a game and had 8 in the opener against Cedar Rapids, Washington, but was scoreless against Davenport Assumption.
While I was downstairs, the administration of East High School asked us to make an announcement that we will.
Baranobas. Rebound Werdinger.
Win or lose, they're having a welcome home at the East High Gym tonight. Around midnight, they think, when the ball club will get there, Mark, at Waterloo. Win or lose, a big welcome home for either the number 3 or number 4 team in Iowa.
That's the way it should be, win or lose. Welcome them home, all of them. Knocked out of bounds, returned, Werdinger shoots. He just can't get the lid off. Mears, garbage man.
Boy, that was a critical bucket because you don't want this East outfit to break away too far. They're
35-27.
awfully hard to play catch up against.
You know it. They dropped behind in the first quarter, came back, Mitch. Here in the third, he started with a rush. Baranobis. That's 6 field goals for Baranobis, and all of them have been like that.
Steve
one side or the
McGraw
other.
has just apparently given him a license to shoot whenever he feels the rhythm.
Yep. He's open, and as you said, he has his spot on either side. That's Mears. Intimidated by Williams. Baranobis on the rebound, comes up to Franklin, and let's see. Traveling?
Yep. And when we mention Steve McGraw, he is probably one of the youngest AAA coaches in Iowa at age 35.
We have a timeout, Mitch. Now this word from your local station. So far, this third period is a repetition of the first period when East Waterloo jumped out tough in that quarter, led by 9 on 2 occasions, only to have Waverly Shell Rock in the closing moments of it not come a little bit closer and just wind up 5 points behind at quarter, 15-10.
A lot of tradition in the basketball programs here. Waverly Shell Rock here for the 13th time. They've come with 7 different coaches. East Waterloo is here for the 10th time.
Slapped away by Franklin. Picked up by Williams, down to Franklin. Boy, how often has he done that tonight?
And, you know, he had a man trailing. Either one of them were 10 yards ahead of the pack.
15 points for Fred Franklin. 15 of the 39. 39-27. The difference is 12. Biggest lead. They go into Mears. Mears over Williams. It doesn't go. Williams gets the rebound. The outlet pass. Perfect to Scott. Crepes Suzettes.
Wasn't that smooth.
Man, they throw him 50, 60 feet without any hesitation. Backcourt foul on Scott. That's his second.
Just keep the pressure on. The problem is you get behind and then you got to play racehorse with them, and they do it better than anybody. Watch this.
Here's the reach in.
Reach in. Needed to go with the left hand right then, and he might have got away with it.
When you're reaching, it's tough.
Right. Waverly's had 2 team fouls. East Waterloo 3. I'm not sure. We might take another look at that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he touched that line.
A little perplexed on it too, but be that as it may, the officials call it, and that's the way it's going to stand. Williams will pass the ball in, and Franklin will handle it. Williams on the shot. No way. Werdinger gets the rebound. Gives it to Alberts. The Go Hawks in trouble.
Ooh.
Traveled.
Yep. Well, he just couldn't get the anchor out. He knew he had to stop or he'd have a charging foul, and but he's going full tilt and just couldn't get it slowed down.
14-point lead. East Waterloo here in the third. It was a 27-23 ball game at halftime. That's Franklin. Air ball. Almost looked like a pass to Mears. Handling it and bringing it up is Spurbeck. Spurbeck with the right hand, working against Scott. Goes to Alberts. Looking underneath. Nothing opening up. Alberts may try it. No, he doesn't. Spurbeck will. Keeping it alive is Walker. He puts it up. Nothing goes. The rebound goes to Walker. Looking for somebody underneath. Nobody there. Gives it to Albert. Slapped out of his hands. Into the hands of Scott. He is tied up. We're going to have a jump ball. We have Walker doing a good job. Mark Walker working very tough out there.
I think so. You know, when East Waterloo won that state title from Murray Ware, there were only 2 classes, AA and Class A. That was 1974. The last year that we did not have a parochial champion in either class. Cedar Rapids Regis took care of that this afternoon.
You have a kid named Frank Smith on that ball club? That ring a bell to you?
Frank Smith.
Maybe that one. I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay, that's Moses.
Frank Smith, I believe, was Lincoln to Des Moines, but Burkett.
Yeah.
Burkett.
Burkett, that's it.
That's the guy, Burkett. And the next year, 1975, Waverly Shell Rock came down and won the sportsmanship trophy.
16-point spread. Franklin has picked up his 3rd personal foul. They'll take it out of bounds near or southern sidelines at Betts Auditorium. 43-27. And the difference was just 4 at halftime, and that was just 5.5 minutes ago.
They hit you with that burst.
Mark Crawford coming in, the 6-foot junior.
Bud Bergman right there is a member of the Hall of Fame as a player from Grundy Center. He was first-team All-State in football and basketball. Later on tonight, you'll see some great names go into the Hall of Fame. And I'm wondering what Coach Tom Goodman of Sioux City North is going to do. He's supposed to go into the Hall of Fame at halftime, but his team will be in the locker room.
I just have a feeling, normally a coach wouldn't come out. I got a feeling Tom will.
I think he will.
Nice pass underneath to Alberts. He gets it up over Williams, but it doesn't fall. The ball's on the floor, so are the players. And it goes out of bounds. They're going to give the ball out of bounds to Waverly Shellrock.
Don't you remember the class of Dubuque Waterloo a year ago when Eddie Colbert, their former coach, went into the Hall of Fame, and Coach Jim McGrath kept the team out of the locker room at halftime on the bench to salute their former coach? That's class.
You know it is. Tremendous testimonial to the affection they have for Colbert. Inside Mears over the top of Williams. No way. Moses comes up out of the toaster. He gives it up to Scott. They come down in a rush. They don't waste any time. Scott, 22.5 feet. The rebound, Walker tore it away.
You know,
Crawford.
they come down so quick on a 94-foot court. What if this court was about 150 feet long?
Imagine if it was 84.
Wow.
Be hard to see him. A little bit short. Walker shot. The foul underneath. Wordinger, he was out of position. That's 2 on Wordinger.
You take a look at it. Wordinger will be the man underneath right there. Kid's having one of those nights. As Jay Williams, I think, is it Moses? Jay Williams.
That was Williams.
Williams goes up so high.
We're under 2, Frosty, with a 43-27 margin here. Biggest lead of the night.
The North Sioux City Ball Club heading to the locker room.
Dirksen checks back in, and going out is Spurbeck. Spurbeck has played well in a reserve role.
That Hopper Davis is always first, even if they go into dress. You know that? He's the leader.
I think Steve McGraw is hoping that Dirksen can get some shots in. He's been pulling them and then reinserting them. Here's the shot attempt. No good by Tyrone Scott. The follow-up is perfect by Davis. Nope, that was
Caldwell.
Not Davis. Right, that was Caldwell. I stand corrected.
Darryl Caldwell.
Darryl Caldwell, a 6'3" junior.
Great defensive end in football.
Just got in and doesn't. Oh, that's Alberts over the back. Somebody got him. Didn't get the bucket, though. Moses picks up his 4th personal foul.
And so Waverly Shellrock, to stay respectable right now, needs to pick up both ends here.
Alberts underneath a few times, just has not been able to drop it in. They've been getting inside play from Brian Mears, and that's about it. Wordinger's been trying to help out, but he's been shut off. 3 free throws. That's it for him. Alberts has scored 1 point in the tournament. There's a good look at the 6'1" senior. He had 1 out of 2 free throws here in the first half.
His dad is Lyle Alberts. He's a political science professor at the University of Northern Iowa. His mom is a counselor over at UNI. This kid has the respect, I'll tell you. He's president of the student body at Waverly Shellrock.
And a member of its football team. That seems pretty obvious. A member of its baseball team.
All-conference tackle in football.
With the right hand. Right on the money, Dave Alberts. He's hit 2 out of 3 now.
He's the guy that hit the 2 free throws, for that matter, that got him here in the sub-state win over Fort Dodge at a critical time. 16 seconds to play, to be exact.
That's critical. Dave doesn't get the second. He's 2 for 4 from the line. They go after it, and they let him play. Torn loose by Caldwell. He gets it up court down on the far side. Baranobis, a shooting star.
Boy.
A 14 for Baranobis. 47-28. 19-point lead. Mark Walker trying to tighten it up, and does. Walker with his second field goal has a total of 5. 47-30.
Every once in a while you hear something like bird chirps. That's our floor microphones down there from IPBN, and it's just picking up what we call sneaker squeaker defense.
They go underneath, and Tyrone Scott now has a total of 14.
This was a ball game at halftime.
Yep. 49-30, a 19-point spread. Second time. Walker again trying to bring it down to 17. Cannot. Baranobis kicked out of bounds by Wordinger.
Pretty heads-up play by Baranobis.
We're down to 24 seconds left in the 3rd frame. And it has been a big quarter for East Waterloo, the #1 rated team coming into the tournament. The orange and black. Sparkling record of 20-1 coming in. They've won 1 and lost 1. The follow-up is by Dravis. He has his first field goal, Frosty, of the evening.
That East Waterloo bench is awesome.
Now it's a 21-point lead. Air ball by Walker at the end of the 3rd quarter. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, East Waterloo 51, Waverly Shellrock 30. We'll be back after this word from your local station. That youthful knight is getting ready for our nightcap. He is a supporter, or she is, pretty obviously, of Davenport Assumption, which will go up against Sioux City North in the 3A championship. We have the final 8 minutes here of this 3A consolation title game. Mears going up against Williams, a big third quarter. 24-7, East Waterloo outscores Waverly, and they just might have put it away with that effort. It was a ball game at halftime. Baranobis.
Freddie Franklin has taken over the scoring lead in the AAA scoring derby with 57, and behind him with 48, Tyrone Scott, both from East Waterloo.
This is Scott, left hand. Scott gets the rebound, keeps it alive, and will he try it again? Nope. Gets it out to Baranobis, or at least tries to. Back to Scott, and out to Fred Franklin.
Number 3 in that derby is Craig Werdinger of Waverly.
Baranobis. That doesn't happen, and the rebound goes to Tyrone Scott. Almost lost it, did, and let's see, he touched it last.
Yep.
So Dirksen bothered him enough on it, hounded him enough, so that it slipped out of bounds, and that Scott touched it. So Werdinger will trigger it in.
In 4th place, Jeff Donaldson from Sioux City North has 47 points, and of course he has 4 quarters yet to play in the championship game.
This is Spurbeck, Werdinger, and Mears in the lineup. Almost dug away. It is dug away. That's Moses, and he carried it. Spurbeck, Werdinger, along with Mears in the lineup at the present time. Also in there is Ron Waltman and Dirksen. Here's a look again, Mitch.
Here he comes. Moses pounded hard.
That's where it came.
Our color cameras have occasionally picked up the East Waterloo cheerleaders, and they're in brand new uniforms for the state tournament. They just arrived last week.
Spurbeck trying to go inside. Baranobis saw it going, and he really took a flyer.
Swan dive.
He's okay, though. Saved the ball. Shellrock got it. Baranobis slaps out of Werdinger's hands. He forgot about him from behind. Down to Scott. Beautiful pass. Slapped away by Mears. Superb defense. Baranobis cleans up.
Oh, would you believe that?
So we had a chance to see some excellent defense and excellent offense all in the
all
same
at the
series.
same time.
Yep.
Same price ticket.
23 points. Biggest lead. East Waterloo.
Foul on Franklin.
In the backcourt, 4.
Those new uniforms were ordered a while back. They started raising the money a year ago, and they raised $3,500. They have 50 girls in the cheerleading corps at East Waterloo, coached by a lady named Trudy Harms. But they were in a competition and finished 5th in the nation. You're looking at them right now, these 6 girls tonight in these new uniforms. And 5th in the nation in a national cheerleading sales contest. And they got a $1,000 scholarship to boot out of the whole deal.
That's great. Here's Dirksen. Averaging 6. He's found it tough to score here tonight. That's his first point. He's a 62%er from the field. From the line, 45% from the field.
You know, Waverly Shellrock's got 32 points, and they're way back by 21. They scored yesterday only 32 points and lost by only 2 to Davenport.
Baranobis on the money. That's 18 for Baranobis. He has had 9 field goals, and most of them from about that range.
Boy, when he's on.
And, of course, he is on. He's had a good night. This is Dirksen. They drop it for Werdinger. That's that 23-point lead for the second time. Spurbeck feeding it inside. Waltman. That's his first basket. Nice assist from Werdinger. 55-34. This is Scott. What are you going to do? 16 for Tyrone Scott. 7 field goals, 2 free throws. 57-34 for the third time, that 23-point spread. Dirksen, about a 12-footer, and Dirksen gets his first field goal. He has a total of 4. Franklin with the right hand. 5:50 left to play in our ball game. Over to Scott. Beautiful pass to Williams. Wheels and deals. Follow up Moses. For Tim Moses, his first basket. Moses is a good leaper. Fine rebounder. 59-36. 23-point lead. We have a timeout being called. Now this word from your local station.
You want to see a clinic shot. Look at Tyrone Scott drop down. The defense close in. Behind the back, he goes to Franklin. Franklin just lays it up over the defender. No good. But now watch Baranobis come out of there with still more action. A twisting fadeaway, falling away baseline jumper, scores. Wow.
Like I said, we got the price of the admission on that play. Offense and defense, both teams. Great action. Spurbeck gives it to Mears. Mears has the shot blocked.
Jay Williams.
Yep. 59-36. We have 5:23 left to play. Big third quarter for East Waterloo. Opened it up after it was just a 4-point game at halftime. Mears, about an 11.5-footer. It won't go. Cleared by Baranobis. He goes up to Franklin. Pass Spurbeck.
Beautiful double pump. Protect the ball with the body. And he did.
Fred Franklin has 17. He had 20 in the opener against Burlington. He had 22 in the loss to Sioux City North. He is about the entire offense against Sioux City North. Almost lost. It is lost. They'll award the ball out of bounds to East Waterloo.
We were talking about Murray Weir a little while ago, Mark, how good he was. In history, been only 4 Iowa kids ever make all Big Ten, and he was one of them. The others being Kevin Kunert, Bill Logan, and Dave Gunther.
25 is the spread. Could be 27. It is not, as Franklin misses and Mears rebounds. He drops it for Spurbeck. Spurbeck coming up against Franklin. In the front court to Mark Walker. Give Mark Walker a total of 7 points. And that's about what he's been averaging in the tournament. On the season, 10.5. 61-38. Baranobis, the one he likes. Not this time. Baranobis on the rebound. Dug away, however, by Spurbeck.
Spurbeck didn't want to break out that time and run. He decided to wait for some help.
The Go-Hawks trying to get some go. They found it hard here in the second half. Walker, 2 in a row. Nope, he was fouled. Tyrone Scott picks up his 3rd personal foul.
And we're just about halfway through the 4th and final. 4:07 to play.
There's a good look at Scott, the leading scorer on this ball club, 2nd in steals. Their starter last year.
Real nickname is Go-Hawks. Although that's become a battle cry this year, the Rose Bowl year and whatnot. People crying Go Hawks, but their real name is Go Hawks.
On the money, Mark Walker. He has 8. Well, I was sitting in their section at the opening of the show. Mitch, you were in the other section, and it looks like my section's going to be a little sadder than your section. Looks like we have a timeout called on the floor. Now, this word from your local station. East Waterloo, 4 minutes away from celebrating 3rd place here. It appears pretty evident that that's going to be the resolution of this contest. They have come on with a vengeance from the start of the second half on. It was a 4-point ball game as well. Waverly Shell Rock really hung on. But, man, a blitzkrieg in the 3rd quarter, 24-7. And as a result, now all uphill for the Go-Hawks.
The East High total is 61, is exactly the number of points that Franklin has scored in this 3-game tournament to be the leader in the AAA Derby.
Spurbeck on the miss. Down come the Trojans. Scott underneath, and Mears does the number on him, and that on Brian Mears is his 4th personal foul.
Looking over at that Waverly Shell Rock bench, no wonder Bud Bergman looks so relaxed. The guy's been teaching driver's education for 12 years.
Yeah.
Steve McGraw, oddly enough, the East Waterloo coach, does not teach at East Waterloo. He teaches at Logan Junior. That's Bud Bergman, the driver's ed man.
Into Williams, and that's all there was to it.
McGraw teaches at Logan Junior High in Waterloo.
That's Williams' first field goal. He has 2 free throws, total of 4 points, 63-39, 24-point lead. They have led by 25. Spurbeck, foul before the shot. On the way in, and he was fouled by Scott. That on Scott is personal foul number 4.
Bill Spurbeck, quarterback, the fine football team for them.
So Spurbeck, who has hit 1 free throw in 4 tries, looking for his 6th point here this evening. He played much more in the second half of the season, came on better, and became a top reserve along with Waltman and Alberts.
His dad is a math teacher and junior high athletic director at Waverly. Name's Wayne.
Baranobis with the basketball front court as we get down to 3.5 left. They try to get it inside. Williams picks it off. It was slapped away by Mears, and a pushing foul is going to be called on Spurbeck, and that is his 2nd.
And that only takes it down to 3 minutes and 28 seconds. If East Waterloo, look at the psycho-cybernetics there being done by Jay Williams. They take a look at the replay on this.
Goes inside by Franklin, slapped away by
Williams,
Mears.
Rebound, tries to go left.
And Spurbeck body rubbed him, so Williams will go to the line. He's hit 2 out of 3 here this evening. He's a 56%er.
Mark, if East Waterloo wins this, and I think they will, leading 64-39, out of 7 ball games in AAA, this is the first time anybody in dark uniforms has won. Breaking the ice. because Sioux City North will be in dark in the second ball game.
Well, I think they're probably happy to hear that, Mitch.
Yep, takes the monkey off.
65-39.
That's determined by where you are in the bracketing. If you're on the top of the bracket, you're the light jersey. If you're at the bottom, you're the dark.
Exactly. Werdinger. Boy, what a frustrating game. Werdinger has just picked up his first field goal. Here's a guy hitting 54% from the field.
I'm happy for him.
And he gets his first basket. He has a total of 5 now. They get it into Moses. He lost the handle on it. There's the race for it. It's won by Walker, but they can't get a bust out. Gives it to Mears. Mears in turn to Werdinger. And Walker will try about a 20-footer.
Look at those rebounds.
That's Williams. He skies.
He plays
pass
above
up
the
court
rim
to Moses. We're down to 2:45. The alley-oop, and they're going to call it on whom?
Whole platoon is coming in. 5 guys checking in from East Waterloo when the clock stops.
Waltman on the personal foul.
Nobody can come in for number 4, though. He's the shooter. Tyrone Scott gets to stay in.
So we have Dravis coming in. We have Caldwell moving into the lineup.
So everybody's happy in East Waterloo except one guy. That's whoever it is has to dust the trophies. His work's getting tougher.
Crawford's in the lineup. Dravis, Davis, Caldwell, and now Scott. And Scott, after he gets through shooting, will be removed. That's 17 for Tyrone Scott. 14 the first game, 20 in the second game, and looking for his 18th here.
Mark, it takes my memory a little while, but yeah, it was Chuck Burkett, and the other guy's name was Bill Fagan. Burkett and Fagan on that 74 East
Well, if
Waterloo
anybody
club.
remember, I knew you would.
Well, it took a minute.
Carl Montgomery, 5'7" junior, is in the lineup, number 12. That's him over on the far side working against Walker. Tom Moeller, a 6-foot senior, in the lineup. The rebound put up by Walker. Nothing goes. And East Waterloo controls in the person of Darrell Caldwell.
Moving down to the 2-minute mark now. We're at 2:15.
Montgomery over to Davis. Out inside. Wheeling and dealing, but the air ball by Caldwell. They save it. Caldwell again.
Oh, are they smooth as oil and just as valuable? That's
4.
next year's team.
4 for Darrell Caldwell. That's right. He's a 6'3" junior. Werdinger, his second field goal. Nope. Save from going out of bounds and over into the hands of Carl Montgomery. Montgomery brings it down in a hurry, tries Davis. Davis tries the bucket, and the rebound goes to Walker. Minute 44 left to play. 69-41. 28-point spread, biggest. The shot attempt by Moeller. Loose change is picked up. Down court to Darrell Caldwell. He might jam it. Nope. Puts it up very nicely. He has a total of 6.
That 71 points is not the high water mark in the AAA tournament. Whoop, little collision there. High water mark was Sioux City North, 82-75 over East Waterloo. East yesterday scored 4 more points than this and lost.
We have a 30-point difference now. A minute 23, 71-41.
Though certainly not to say that East Waterloo is 30 points better than Waverly Shell Rock. They were tonight.
We have a change coming in for Waverly Shell Rock, and that's Mike Reinhardt, a 5'10" senior, in the lineup. The foul, by the way, was on Crawford. There's Bud Bergman.
And you notice they're giving up a rebound spot that they could take if they wanted down below. That's out of respect to the fast break of East. They're going to drop back twin safeties.
All right, one more attempt by Werdinger. He has a total now of 7 points, but only 1 field goal. He has hit 5 out of 6 free throws. It's just been too little too late. From behind, the foul called on Moeller. That's his first.
Stops the clock with a minute 18 to tick.
And it'll put Mark Crawford on the line, but we have a timeout coming up first. Now this word from your local station. East Waterloo will wind up its season 22-2 and the 1982 Consolation or third place winner. They busted out with 75 points against North yesterday, but they lost that ball game. They have 71 here this evening.
That might get my vote for the most exciting ball game of the tournament yet, though.
That was a great game.
Oh, wow.
Both ways.
Not a big stretch of the imagination that either one of these teams could be playing in the title thing tonight. Both took them right down to the wire.
So on the miss by Crawford, here come the Go Hawks with the left hand. Right on the money for Randy Suits. 5'8" senior in the lineup, gets his first scoring of this tournament. We're down to a minute. Inside, banged home by Caldwell. He has a total of 8. Keep that up, he's going to become a high scorer. We have 53 seconds left, turning it over. Palming the ball was Tommy Moeller.
Waverly Shell Rock's down by 28, but they've scored more points in this game than they scored in beating Cedar Rapids, Washington, or the narrow loss to Davenport Assumption.
That's Davis. The rebound battle for. Will it fall? No. The shot attempt by Crawford won't go, but the follow-up by Caldwell does. He has 10. 5 field goals in a hurry. 75-45. There's that 30-point spread again for the second time. The Go Hawks in the front court. Suits handling it. Moving into the lane. On the way in, he was fouled by Davis. Morris Davis has his second personal foul. We're down to 23 seconds. There's a good look at the East Waterloo bench. Youthful coach Steve McGraw in his 3rd year.
Murray Weir. Little gray showing. That's Bud Bergman.
Yep.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he's smiling. He's taking his knocks tonight. Bud knows it. He's been around. He's dished out a few in his time.
He's a beautiful man,
isn't he?
In the Hall of Fame.
There we have a pretty candid look at Tom Moeller, the 6-foot senior.
170-pounder.
For the Go Hawks. Looking for his first scoring of the tournament, Frosty.
Look, he can be in the box score right here.
And is. 75-46.
You know, that's the most points they've scored since the sub-state when they scored 46 against Fort Dodge. And they're still down by 29.
Pretty amazing, isn't it? Well, of course, then it explains what happened. They rely on their defense, and when that doesn't come, down court quickly, into the hands of Coleman.
Are they deep?
And the basket wrapped home by Lonzo Coleman, his first scoring of the tournament.
There it is.
77-47. Here we go. The foul whistled with 3 seconds left. It'll be whistled against Coleman.
And I salute the Waverly Shell Rock fans, too, from Bremer County. They are still up there applauding their ball club, fighting it out all the way.
Reinhardt goes to the line. He'll get a pair.
They tried to sneak that pass in there, boy. Mark, against East Waterloo, that's like trying to sneak a sunrise past a rooster. It just doesn't happen.
Well, they've had a day. They obviously wanted to atone for that loss to Sioux City North.
I guess. 3 seconds left in their season.
And Reinhardt's in the playbook or the scoring book. He has a total of 1 point. (77-49). 2-1. The desperation heave goes nowhere. That's the end of the 3A consolation game with the score: East Waterloo 77, Waverly Shell Rock 49. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Third and fourth place have been resolved. Mo Kelly, center court, to pass out the hardware.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present the consolation awards, 2 members of the IHSAA Board of Control. To my far right is Harold Sweet, the athletic director of the Dubuque Public Schools. And next to him is Mrs. Jackie Parkin of Fairfield, who represents the Iowa Association of School Boards. It's truly great to make it into the state tournament field and to pick up a victory or a couple of wins and reach the consolation round is even greater. And certainly both of these fine teams defeated some very, very quality opponents during this long season. In Class 3A, the 4th place award to Coach Bud Bergman and the Waverly Shell Rock Go Hawks! And of course, the consolation winners, Coach Steve McGraw and Waterloo East.
There we have it, the trophy presentations. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium after this word from your local station. Steve McGraw, the 35-year-old youthful coach, Waterloo East, the Trojans winning third, meeting veteran coach Norman Bud Bergman at the timeline, and the congratulations are extended by both of those gentlemen. Two teams that met here in Consolation, with East taking third place, Waverly Shell Rock getting into fourth. They received their awards. This afternoon we had many important awards presented, and right now we'd like to share them with you this evening.
These teams in Class 2A that we're going to be introduced now were defeated in their first round game. But certainly they can walk tall and proud because they were in that final 8 from all across the state, and their communities are very proud of them, and certainly they can be proud of their accomplishments. To present awards to these 4 teams, 2 members of the IHSAA Board of Control, Dr. Ted Runyon, Superintendent of Schools at Britt, and Keith O'Connell, Superintendent of Schools at Jackson Junction, Turkey Valley. Let's begin from a team way up in the northeastern part of the state. How about a nice hand for Coach Dick Mesher and the Dyersville Beckman Trailblazers. Dyersville Beckman, how about a nice hand for them? It wasn't too long ago that this team was here in a previous state tournament and made an excellent showing. They were back again this year. Meet Coach Dave Hanneman and the Hampton Bulldogs. Hampton. Next up, another group of outstanding young athletes, great success on the football field in recent years, and also a state tournament basketball team this year. How about a nice greeting for Coach Ken Dober and the Hudson Pirates? Hudson. And finally, here's a school that has certainly made its name well known across the state from a couple of recent appearances in our state tournament. Meet Coach Gene Huspers and the Western Christian Indians. Western Christian. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd just like for you to stop and think for a moment about your hometown news media. In your area, I'm sure that you have some great coverage of high school sports by way of radio, TV, or that hometown paper. And think of the void that there'd be in your high school athletic program if you didn't have that great coverage. I'm sure that our programs would not be near as successful today if we didn't have the great cooperation of the members of the media. And at this time, we'd like to thank each and every one of them. Many of them, of course, are here on hand for our tournament, but we'd like to thank all the members of the media across the state for the great job they do during the year of providing us with the information about our hometown teams. A few years ago, we instigated what we call our News Media Award. Many of these people have been at it for a long, long time, and they've been very, very dedicated, very loyal to our high school program. And we'd like to honor two of them today with our News Media Award. Let's begin, first of all, on the radio side, from KWPC Radio in Muscatine, a young fellow that's been coming to our state tournament for many, many years and has done a great job of following Muscatine High events and area events in that particular area for a good long time. By the way, he's been named the Iowa Sportscaster of the Year 4 different times. Winner of our 1982 Media Award, meet from Muscatine, Blaine Calkins and his wife, Bonnie. And on the news side, a gentleman who's been working for the Iowa Daily Press Association for over 20 years. The IDPA, by the way, is composed of 37 of your daily newspapers in Iowa with a circulation of over 500,000. For many, many years, they've been naming all-state teams in football and basketball, and in recent years in baseball as well. And this gentleman has much to do with those selections, along, of course, with a fine committee of newsmen from around the state. Our 1982 News Media Award to the news director of the Iowa Daily Press Association from here in Des Moines, Harrison Skip Weber, along with his wife, Phyllis. Now let's hear it just one more time for these two award winners, plus a nice hand for all the members of the media who do such a great job for us. It's always a pleasure at this time to introduce to you Mr. Steve Knight of the Iowa Governor's Council on Physical Fitness to make some special presentations. Steve?
Thank you, Mo. Each year at this time, Governor Ray instructs his Council on Physical Fitness and Sports to review and recognize outstanding physical fitness, recreation, and health programs conducted in Iowa during the previous year. The council members have made their selections, and here once again is Governor Ray to present the award plaques to the recipients. Governor. Assisting the governor is Dr. Scott Wood, a member of our council. The award plaques were made possible through a donation sent to our council by the physician members of the Iowa Medical Society. And now I'm pleased to present the 1981 award recipients to you. The Outstanding High School Physical Fitness and Sports Award for 1981 goes to Marshalltown High School, Marshalltown, Iowa. Accepting the award is Mr. Terry Leeper, Physical Education Coordinator, and Carolyn Weir, physical education instructor. The Outstanding College or University Physical Fitness and Sports Award this year goes to Dort College, Sioux Center, Iowa. Accepting the award, Dr. Sine Altena, Professor of Physical Education. Dr. Len Rhoda was to join him, but due to a medical problem in his family, was unfortunately able to join us. The Outstanding Handicapped or Special Needs Physical Fitness and Sports Award goes to the Special Program for Outdoor Recreation Talents and Skills, Patient Service Department, University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, Iowa City, Iowa. Accepting the award, Mr. Bob Brown, Assistant Director of Activities, and Mrs. Diane Benjamin, Activities Coordinator. The Outstanding Private Organization Physical Fitness and Sports Award goes to the Greater Des Moines Amateur Hockey Association. Accepting, John Cronin and his father, Mike Cronin. The Outstanding Community Physical Fitness and Recreation Award for 1981 goes to Carroll Recreation Department, Carroll, Iowa. Accepting the award, Darwin Bunger, Mayor for Carroll, and Dan Rodewig, Director of Parks and Recreation. The Outstanding Senior Citizen Physical Fitness and Recreation Award goes to the Hancock County Healthcare Facility in Garner, Iowa. Accepting the award, Karen Durigger, Home Administrator, and Elaine Hansen, Activity Coordinator. Our final award for the evening is the Outstanding Employee Health and Physical Fitness Program conducted by an Iowa employer. This year it goes to Mercy Wellness Program, Mercy Hospital, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Teresa Anderson, Activity Coordinator, and Dagmar Munn, Activity Coordinator. If anyone in Iowa is conducting one of these programs and would like more information about what these award recipients did to earn these awards, kindly contact the Governor's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports at the State Capitol Building, and we will put you in touch with these people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. We have one more thing to take care of here, and this is always a pleasure. The Iowa Basketball Coaches Association, as you well know, has all-star games each year up at the Unidome. And the proceeds of the all-star games in recent years have been given to the Iowa Special Olympics. And we're going to make that presentation at this time with the proceeds of last year's games. And to make the presentation, we have to my near right Bill Fleming, the basketball coach at Maquoketa High School, who is the current president of the Iowa Basketball Coaches Association. And also we have with us Don Logan of Benton Community Van Horn, basketball coach there, who will be the next president of that group. To receive a check directed toward the Iowa Special Olympics for $3,000 is the executive director of the Iowa Special Olympics, Maureen Soliday. Gentlemen. How about a nice hand for the Iowa basketball coaches?
That brings us to within just a few short minutes away from our feature of the day, or perhaps more correctly, the evening. The feature earlier today was the 2A championship. Cedar Rapids Regis won that. This is the 3A championship. Davenport Assumption versus Sioux City North. Davenport Assumption, rated number 2, eliminated Ankerly and Waverly Shell Rock. Sioux City North had to eliminate Des Moines Roosevelt, rated number 8, and then had to eliminate Waterloo East, rated number 1. Now they're faced with trying to eliminate number 2. That's a massive task. And interestingly enough, Sioux City North will be facing a Davenport Assumption team that, to a degree, will remind them of East Waterloo, perhaps the difference being that Davenport Assumption has a pretty tough front line. They've got good size in Daniel, Tandeschi, McGowan, but Sioux City North has pretty good size in Tillo, Cochran, and Donaldson. North likes to go inside. Davenport Assumption likes to run, go inside or outside. We'll be back in a moment after this pause for station identification.